We're live. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Gabby. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm here with Linda Brandt.
I'm Linda Brandt. I also go by she, her pronouns in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, and I'm here in Quito, which is where I was born, in Quito, Ecuador. I'm in a meeting room. Hopefully, I won't get interrupted, but if we do, hopefully that's okay. Um, and Linda, I am truly so excited to be on this call with you because so many of our network leaders have met you, have connected with you, have reached out to say how supportive you've been through their journey. Um, and so it's not so much an introduction to you. I think you are truly the champion of one on one relationship building. But at least for today, we can focus on a specific topic, focus mate, and hopefully that way help our network leaders learn pick up one tool that can make their days a little bit more efficient, easier, and better. So thank you, because I just anything I watch you do, I try to like put and implement in place. I've gotten so many great ideas from you, so wanted to mention that before we begin. All right, so just to keep this one short, we're going to go question, answer. And Linda, anything you want to expand on, I actually feel fine going on a tangent if you think it's important. So I'll leave that up to you. All right.
I'm
Well,
good.
you've been a community builder with Lean In from the get-go. Can you just tell me about one of your favorite memories since joining in May of 2003? Yeah.
Um, 2013, yeah. So I'm not always good with numbers, so I get to start to be humble from the beginning. Um, so in the last 8.5 years, so many good things have happened, but of course it gets elevated when we end up in person in California. So when we were trying to coordinate a day before and 2 days after the lead-in conference to have more kind of relationship building, I didn't know how to get free space in an expensive area of the world. And so I just checked everybody on LinkedIn and said, who knows how to find low cost space in Palo Alto? And Noel Santa Maria got back to me like, I got you. I got a space. And we were in the most beautiful Morrison and Forrester space. And it just continued to get more positive. Like my friend in San Francisco came and she did Spanish translation. She did graphic facilitation. It was just like such a, and then there was a funny moment where the lean-in leader who ordered the lift forgot to count herself in the number. And so it's just like classic, lean-in stuff of women being really generous and forgetting about themselves and extending themselves. Some people getting up in the middle of the night to be part of our extended conference. Just, it will always be just stuck in my memory of being in such a beautiful space. And they said, this is what this space is intended for use by the community. And it was just, and they also had Wi-Fi problems. So I was like, here we are in Silicon Valley and they're having Wi-Fi problems. So it was just, everything about it was just lovely to see lean-in leaders step up.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think I remember when like seeing the Lead in Leaders extension, like when I was still kind of new and was so curious and just it's so inspiring to see the network leaders continue to volunteer their time in service to the community. Like you truly are the women in the arena, the women out there being vulnerable. I'm kind of quoting Dare to Lead, and maybe it was Roosevelt's passage, right? But it's because I started rereading it and I realized that's who you all are. You are the women out there doing the work, putting in the time to support one another. And I just can go on, but I think I have some background noise. So I'll ask you the next question so I can mute quickly.
Yep.
All right. So now on to Focus Me. For someone like
Yeah.
me, I don't know much about it. What is it? What can you
Yep.
tell us just to orient ourselves?
Yep. So FocusMate has been around for a few years, and productivity people were the people who use it the most, who want a place where they can do work that's hard. So you are doing a virtual conference with a randomly assigned person usually for either a 25 or a 50-minute session. You say at the beginning, hi, person in Paris, person in Quito, person in Seoul, how's it going? Great. Sorry you're isolated with COVID. Blah, blah, blah. What are you working on today? Then you say, would you like the microphone muted or open? Most times they say muted. Then at the end, bing, goes off. You say, oh, how did it go? And they say, oh, I was so focused. I'm so pleased. Or, can't believe I can't, blah, blah, blah. And so it's a place to get things done with people around the world. It's on demand. You can do three free sessions per week. If you love it, it's $5 per month US. And it has been life-changing for me and for many other people. So of course I started a Lean In group right away, so that Lean In together, there's 1,000 people who've agreed that they want to be associated with Lean In on FocusMate. And so you can be part of that group and then get matched, and you will meet some Lean In leaders. Ottawa, you'll see pretty regularly, but other people around the world as well, as we spread the word. And if Lean In leaders have PhD students, medical students, anybody who's going to log a lot of computer time in, this is such a great tool for them. And I'm happy to be a resource to make it even better than it would be if you went in blindly.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing about these platforms. Like, you do need someone to kind of hold your hand and put in that initial effort to get it to pick up. I'd love it if you can give me a link. We can definitely include it as a follow-up to this. And I will definitely be joining, because I procrastinate a fair amount in my life, and I think this might help. But then here's the thing. I think sometimes networking can be awkward, and then you add the whole thing of like freezing on camera or the technical issues, right? Like something you might already be noticing about my connection. So why do you think it's worth the risk of meeting a stranger online and the awkwardness that may come with that?
Yeah. So FocusMate is very thoughtful community. There's a small group of people in a startup, including a Lean In member, Lisa, who just joined the team. And so there is really thoughtful people who have thought about all the implications of stranger danger sort of thing. In my 5,000 sessions, the worst of it was maybe someone making a comment about my body. So and I was like, goodbye, done with that person. And usually you can basically leave at any moment in the session. Someone makes you uncomfortable, you get a feeling it's not going that well. There's also blocking. So if you saw someone on the list that you're going to match with and that's not going to work for you, block them. I don't recommend people just get matched with same gender partners, because I think both genders can be weird. So, but that is now an option based on probably a cultural demand for people who couldn't be matched cross gender. And the other thing is just so many amazing people, especially, as you might guess, someone in the US. You don't get a lot of news from the rest of the world, so you have Insta friends around the world. It makes it completely worth it. And I've met some of those people in real life now, and so those are real connections people make with each other. And then the last kind of safety thing is you can give people your private link, and you can only connect with people that you actually know, and it will not rematch you with someone stranger. So you can just use FocusMate for a small list of people who you know. And I do that as well, because what's different with co-working with, let's say, a Lean In leader in my community is if we're just co-working on Zoom, then they start chatting. But if there's a clock running down, time gets, like, I can say, oh, we only have 20 minutes left. So it actually eliminates some awkwardness, because you have the excuse of the clock is ticking down.
That's good too. For me, I'm initially very shy, but then once you get to know me, Linda, you know this, we've been like 30 minutes, and then it's like an hour goes by, and we can keep going. And so I like that can keep you honest about you came to do work and connect. So that's great. I mean, I'm convinced. So like you definitely know the tool really well, and you have 5,000 sessions. That's a lot. So do you have one story that you can tell me about why you love the tool, or maybe something unexpected that happened while you were on there building community?
Yep. So a story I love is I was talking to a woman in Hong Kong while there was civil unrest in Hong Kong. And I remembered that I had talked to someone in Israel just recently who was also working on civilian response to emergencies. And those two women connected, they're helping each other. So someone like me can just make that quick connection. And then I thought, oh, that was really awesome. But there was a man in Tehran and a man in Berlin, both working on the same project. And I was like, oh my goodness, I get to connect these two people, be the conduit for them to like be cheered on in their passions in life. Same with other subgroups I've started. People have started companies together that were in a subgroup together, and they're like, we found our people, and now we're doing business together. So it's not for networking, but occasionally people find accountability partners because you've got a kind of group that's in some ways a very rare slice of people. And you will be so inspired by people who are just sticking with really hard things for a long time. That's my story.
That's
Connecting
definitely,
people.
yeah, thank you for those. Those are great specific examples. And I think that's really impressive when you can stick with something that's a big kind of hairy issue and you continually show up to maybe hopefully within your life see some uptick or some change. So keen on finding people like that as well. One of the things I don't like is being in a bubble. Like that is I
Mm-hmm.
always attributed it to being an immigrant and being from another country, another culture, and then moving. But I realize sometimes, despite this feeling, I still want to like, or I would say, I still share that with others of like wanting to leave your bubble and wanting to get to know other people, their circumstances, what may be a big issue there, and to you, you take for granted because of access, privilege, just history. So that's actually like something I would really kind of hopefully ask and count on you, Linda, if you have people within your network that are from other parts of the world that you think, might just be worth having a conversation. I think that might actually even make it easier to get on there. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yep,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay, so then finally, just because we want to keep these
Yeah.
short and easy for our network leaders to watch, um, how does this tool help you be a better lean in network leader? If there's a world
Yep.
where you can be better, I don't know. There's always growth, but you're already
Yeah.
a stellar. And yeah, how does it help you become a better community builder?
So I see us in the future in Lean In having blocks of time when we are working together on the things that have to get done with Lean In that are sort of thankless tasks. And until we have those blocks of time where we can work together, Focusmate is so great because you can log on and say, this is my third session working on updating this Lean In project. And I have to tell somebody why I'm spending so much time on something. And they're like, oh my God, you're doing that for free? What is this Lean In project about that you're so dedicated to? So you get a chance to verbalize your purpose with Lean In administrative stuff as well. So there is no way I would have stuck with so many of these projects hour after hour without Focusmate company because I have a full-time job. There are things I love about Lean In that I would absolutely get done, but I would let a lot of this stuff slide. I would not, I would just not do the high quality administrative work that I think this community deserves. I think we deserve people to follow up on questions and make connections and I think it's way easier to do it with companies. So we even tried to have a work group around administrative work, totally failed. I think if we had had a group chat once a week where we got together, which you certainly, you could just do in a Zoom, you don't need Focusmate for that. I really encourage people to virtually co-work more broadly and also just spread the message that if you've got people who are stuck in your community and they just need company, it's a really great tool, and especially with the lean in element. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, certainly. I
I'll
mean,
use it.
so this is half a comment, but also half a question for you. And
Yeah.
it's not something we we talked about. But Linda, I feel
Yeah.
like you're always at the vanguard. Like you are always you one step ahead. For example, this virtual co-working, the world has been changing into hybrid, into remote work. And here you are already with such experience
Okay.
and a tool that I think will really be implemented far and wide. So the comment is, I am continually impressed, but the question is, how do you do it? Like, how do you pick up these technologies, tools, or even, I just want to learn from you. And I think many people who admire you for that also would probably want just a hint. And it could be that your instinct is that strong, but maybe if you have like practical tips, I'd love to hear them personally.
You've pretty much hit on the answer, like the practical intelligence. Like I want to hear how this is actually going to help people. And a lot of people like the vision. I really like what. So when we talk about a seat at the table, I want to know where my seat is. I want to hear just really practical stuff like they're not going to invite you to the table. You have to take your place at the table. So anything really like a frameworks, or I feel like Lean In is very practical. Here's a network, and all you have to do is start leading, and you have access to this huge network. So I think I don't get caught up in anything other than the practical. You heard me say the story of how to find free space in Palo Alto. It's a reason to use LinkedIn. If you need a reason to use LinkedIn, there it is. You have access to people, and the kind of people who don't respond to your LinkedIn invite, you don't need to talk to those people. They don't have time for you. Same with any book on the shelf that I've messaged the author who's alive. If they don't respond to you, you don't want anything to do with them. So I think it's what are those people? What do I call them? Public intellectuals. We all need to be public intellectuals. We have to give whatever we have to the world and find the other people who have practical tools and um, want to help other people get their dreams. So just staying really grounded in what actually works, because there's enough of that. But this other stuff, let the other people explore space, is my opinion. Fine. Until everybody is vaccinated, has clean water, you can't interest me in space exploration. You're always going to find me interested in clean water, healthy food, lean in for everybody. Like I'm always, in some ways you're saying I'm ahead, but I'm really just talking about the sure things. Let's focus on the things that are good. And if I see something wrong with FocusMate, you are going to find out from me. I'm going to let everybody know meditation doesn't work, FocusMate doesn't work, whatever it is. And I guess I'm glad to sneak in my last. I just recently took up a daily meditation practice, and FocusMate makes it easy. There's no way in heck I won't be doing this as long as I have a tool like FocusMate to let me tell someone I'm going to do it and follow through. So it's all-purpose tools like relationships and generosity, things that you can just really count on. So that's the answer to your question is,
Yeah.
really don't try to find the thing that's fantastic. Like know that there's a history to everything excellent. Like it's really just innovation is just improving what already exists. Invention is a whole nother thing. I think we got a lifetime of innovation and practical translational research, all of that. So let's just bring things that are working already. Let's find the bright spots, kind of a tool Gawande, and let's spread those things. And let's remember that, we've got
Thank you.
heroes and heroines around the world we can look to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you I'll leave it at that with those wise
Yeah.
words. I'm
What do
curious to
you,
know when you'll
sorry.
publish your next book with all of this wisdom. Because definitely going to pick up an early copy. Well, thank you, Linda. I think that should wrap up
Yeah.
around 20 minutes. I would love to do this again on many other topics with you, but as the leaders know, you are so accessible and approachable. You can leave your information there. This is Linda Brandt from Lean In Network, together, Missouri, St. Louis. Did I get the order right?
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Why did I say Minneapolis? I'm so
But we
sorry.
are big fans of Missouri.
Okay. All right. Thank you so
If you
much.
had traveled
Have a
internationally, you would get the same.
all right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Pleasure. It was
Let's